Welcome to the new episode of The Naked Product. And for folks who don't know about this podcast, we started this podcast to evangelize product and AI and talk about all different aspects of product, namely sales, marketing, design, engineering, growth, and many other things. So, for the last few weeks, we have invited some of the top leaders in these specific disciplines to talk about uh, products, their careers, advice to students, and also talk about the impact of AI. Because if you see in the last 3 years, generative AI has grown exponentially, right? Today, everybody's talking about AI because it's being said that AI is going to basically be a job killer. AI is going to be the next dominant force. We are going to touch base AGI, ASI, and whatnot. But I think having said all of that, it's very important to understand that beyond the hype, what really matters is what will sell and what will not sell, right? So sales is one of the most underrated topics in Indian business. Nobody talks about sales. I go to LinkedIn, I hear probably 2% of the posts dedicated to sales. I really don't understand why people are not talking about sales. Is it the better noire of the business class? Is it some elitist mentality where we undermine the importance of sales? Whatever it is, it's important to basically invite and speak to somebody who hails from that field. And so I'm very, very pleased and very honored that I could invite my schoolmate, Tania Kundnani, to this podcast. And before I go a little further, and so Tania has been in the sales field ever since I knew. I've known her since I was in school. We were all teenagers and everything, and she started her career pretty early with working with a bunch of companies. From then till now, she's had a amazing career in sales. She has learned all the tips and trade of the particular field. She knows how to sell. So I don't think it would be wrong to say she could be compared to the Jordan Belfort of the US. Maybe she's the Jordan Belfort of India. The femme fatale, Tania Kundnani. So Tania, welcome to the show, and very very honored to have you here. And maybe you'd like to say a few words about you, about your career, and let people know who you are.
Thank you, Saurabh. First is that I can't say no to you. So yes, this is courtesy our friendship.
Thank you.
But you've actually given a right introduction to sales, which I'll come on to that a little later. So I carry about 17, 18 years of work experience, starting from customer care to sales to executive assistant to back to sales and marketing as well across fields. I've worked with very good big companies like Times Internet, like Hotstar, like Aditya Birla Capital. I work with startups as well. To start with, Scoop Whoop, Mad Influence, PerformAce. So these are few of the companies which are, which were startups, and they have evolved over a period of time. And currently, I am doing both sales and marketing. Because of sales, I've got the knack of understanding what's happening in the digital marketing space. And of course, AI is playing a very big role in my decision making.
Awesome,
So
awesome. So now that you explained about your career and I've spoken a little bit about sales, I would like to know that as the saying goes, sometimes we are extremely planned in our careers, right? We planned from the beginning that hey, this is what I wish to do, right? And I'm a byproduct of an accidental career. That's what I call myself, right? I never knew where I was going till I actually realized what I was doing. So similarly, when you started, right, did you have a conscious thought that you will move into sales, or you just went with the flow and then discovered that you probably have a knack for sales?
no, during our time, we just had few job opportunities or few lines, whether it's engineering, doctor, maybe, into aeronautics, maybe into something shipping, army. These were few things that were there, and media per se wasn't very quite recommended. Acting wasn't recommended. Journalism wasn't recommended much. Um, hotel industry wasn't recommended much. It was just that if you're not getting anything, then if you're not becoming engineer or doctor, you can go in that and try. That was the attitude of family. And I per se did not get any kind of guidance from anybody in my family or friends. I just went by the flow. And for the longest time, when I didn't know that I'm very good at sales, though I've been doing sales, but that confidence came only and only when you come to a certain position and you get some authority and you are empowered to take certain decisions. And then only you get to know that you're actually very good at it. And uh, you know what is happening today with the AI is there are so many options with kids, with the new generation that's coming up, that it's not only just engineering and doctor, it's like 10 more fields which were there at that point of time, but it was just like the attitude was very different. Right now we as parents are quite open to any field, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whether it's a painting kind of an profession, doodling as a profession. Everything is accepted right now, and doodling also happens manually and digitally both. So there are so many things that can be done, and it's a wide spectrum right now.
So if I look at your journey, you're probably from the analog era. All of us are, right? And then you basically stepped into the digital era, right? And
Yeah.
then now you are probably stepped into the AI era, if I may.
Yeah.
What are the differences you spotted in each of these different transformations, right? Because you probably started when there was nothing, right? Internet was, you know, barely there, right? I mean, we barely had access to email and everything when it all started back in, 98, 2000s, right? And from there, the digital thing actually came up, and we probably got digitally transformed. All of us kind of became digital natives. And then now in the last 3 years, we've all been trying to adjust and adopt AI. How did the sales process as such change to this transformation? What has been your observation?
So I'll tell you my first experience of sales was people used to use modem to connect to internet, and they used to buy certain packages, whether those were VSNL packages or Dish packages or Satyam packages. And I was working for Satyam at that point of time, and everything was manual. Um, to renew your subscription for internet, and those packages were starting from 20 rupees to 100 rupees to 200 to 400 rupees, depending on the number of the number of data that you want for your company. And as a customer care executive, we are solving the problems on the customer care line, and we are also making calls individually, manually, and telling them that your account is about to expire. There's not much of bandwidth left, and you need to renew your account, or would you like to buy another one? And everything was manual. Currently, everything is automated on my phone, whether it's through any of the payment apps or auto payment. At the same time, I get prompts if I don't have auto payments that your account is about to, for that matter, I mean, if you have to pay your credit card bills, and you just say that auto pay, and sometimes when your credit card bill is too big and suddenly that swipes off from your account and you get a shock, oh shit, you have already enabled an auto pay, and this amount has gone. So it's all AI enabled, and that's how it has changed over the years time. In the middle of these last 3 years and the initial years of 2000s, um, everything was evolving, starting from Yahoo and Rediff. Those days were the big, and Hotmail. Those were the big things. We used to have the chat box of MSN chat box chat. Unlike WhatsApp right now, we used to talk, or AOL. We used to use at that point of time, and that was evolving during that period of time. We were trying to accept lot of things, understand by the time, I mean, like, not coming from a non-engineering background or a non-computer background, talking from a layman's language. Of course, you or your class of people are more into computers, engineering, technology, but a non-technical person, for me, I was evolving. I was learning about what's happening in the entire tech ecosystem of, I also didn't know whether this is gonna be, ending up with AI. It's just about 3 years back, everything is AI. But if I go back and think, it's all connected to AI. It has actually landed to AI, and this evolvement is good in a way. But what is bad is that the stickiness that we have these days to our phones and to our laptops, and what they end up giving is specs that we have to wear now because we are all the time glued to our screens, which is also, one of the setbacks.
Right, right. But having said that, if I've not had much sales experience, I've probably done reasonable amount of sales, but probably not that expensive. But if there is an aspirant who wants to chalk out a career in sales now, right? Let's say there's a student doing engineering or doing an MBA, right? So wants to carve out a career in sales, what would you advise him? Like if you look back at your journey, when you started, you were absolutely clueless, like you said, and you just went with the flow, started something, learned on the on the fly on the job, right? And then kind of understood the chops of what it takes to sell something to somebody, right? And it's not a simple process, right? It involves a lot of human psychology. It involves a lot of
Hmm.
problem solving, right? It involves a lot of patience, right? One has to have
Yeah,
patience. One has to be persistent enough to follow up with the customer time and again, right?
yeah.
I've done the same, right? So having said all of that, what would be your advice to somebody who wants to chalk out an effective career in sales today?
See, sales plays a very important role in everybody's life, in every career path that you choose. Whether you are looking at product managers, or for that matter, designers, or for that matter, um, you know uh, strategy people or operations people, it's very important to have a knack of sales, and it only happens through practice. I would definitely recommend everybody to, um, every individual upcoming generation, to have some experience in sales, because it just evolves you as a person, and it also teaches you how to negotiate, whether to negotiate or not, um, which an AI cannot replace. Whether to negotiate, identify what is right, what is wrong, whether when to step in, when to not speak anything. Also, it gives you a lot of confidence as well, that this is the fair amount of price that you are getting. Um, and sales in every field is almost the same. There's no rocket science. It's just that you need to have a background knowledge of it, about any product or any service that you're offering. And interestingly, uh, the SaaS sales, the ad sales part, or for that matter, uh, high tech B2B sales, they all come from the same foundation, that you need to learn to listen, you need to learn to research, and then speak up, and then take your call accordingly. Listening and research is the utmost thing, and sales is something that I would highly recommend to any individual right now.
Right. So tell me something like when I was in the US, I would see small kids, as small as 3-year-old kids, selling lemonade,
Mm.
right? In a building or in a fete or in a fair or something like that, right? So they would be selling lemonades for, let's say, 50 cents a glass. And then I saw that it is an integral part of their society or their culture, where young students or young children are made to sell things. They're made to understand the basic nuts and bolts of business, right?
Yeah.
And then these individuals, these small kids grow up to become confident individuals by the time they are in their teenage, right? And then they do a host of jobs, right? Let's say between
Yeah.
15 and 18. I once met a girl who was going for her first formal job, but she had actually worked 8 jobs since she was since she was 11 years old, right?
Yeah.
We do not have that same culture in India, right? We have a
Yeah.
lot of bias. There are these notions associated with jobs about some jobs are demeaning as per societal belief systems. Some jobs are actually rocking, which are considered really respectful, like engineering and MBA, and like you said medicals used to be something which everybody wanted the kids to do because it was considered like really glorified jobs back then, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the scenario is changing now. Scenario is changing fast, and society is adapting and kind of evolving as we are growing. But in a society like India, how would you teach a kid sales? Because a kid does not even understand what sales is, right? I mean, he's never had that opportunity or the chance to explore and excavate and peel the different layers of sales to understand what it is. So you essentially land up doing sales. Probably you've done your MBA, and in an Indian scenario, you've done your MBA, you have not done well. So you're basically, pushed or forced to basically take up a business development or a sales role. That is what the mentality was, when in a time when I started. But to then, from then till now, it's definitely evolved. But how would a kid get a hang of it if he has never done it before? So something from your journey could
Yeah.
probably help kids who want to build a career in sales to understand what it takes to be a salesman.
So, Saurabh, I have two sons, and the elder one has just gone to college. The younger one is in sixth grade. I feel the schools play a very important role in their life, and the schools create a mandate for each child to uh, to uh, to learn sales indirectly, not calling it out sales, but teaching them what sales is. For example, the schools used to have bake sales, and it's the children who have to sell those delicacies to the students only in the premise, and make sure that everything is finished, whatever the bake sale is. And then they have to collect the money, they have to calculate it, make the account, and then submit it to their office. It is completely their job. Before that sales, it is also their job to create a marketing activity, marketing activation, that this is my menu, this is coming up on so and so day. Please carry so much money, so much of tiffin boxes, and it's gonna be yummy and whatever. Make it flourish. So there is a marketing activity. This is what my kids have done it in school. Coming to the the entire system that happens abroad and that in India is not possible. Purely, you understand, because of the safety reasons. But but there are these lot of retail chains which who can open this, like the McDonald's and Starbucks, or for that matter, Chayos, whatever. These companies can actually open, window for 2 hours or 3 hours for these kids to, learn and figure out what sales is all about, and stand in the counter and talk about it. So if they open something like that, it's gonna be great within the nearby locations. Just like, Delhi schools have a mandate that students should live in the 5 kilometers of area. Similarly, something like that can be done. This is something I feel is important. Um, and schools should also give marks to it if it's possible. But I also feel it's a little difficult in India as a entire system, how it works. It's a journey right now for India to reach there.
Right. Now, coming back to the sales process, right? Can
Yeah.
you feel these different layers of sales? Because we keep hearing, and not me, but I think a lot of folks who are oblivious to how sales work, they keep hearing these terms, business development, they keep hearing these terms, activation kar liya hai, did this, did that, there is a funnel at the top, blah, 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 all those things. So can you, let's say, if I use the the Feynman way of explaining things. If you were to peel these different layers of sales and business development and explain
Yeah.
it to a 5-year-old kid in a very,
Yeah.
very simplistic manner,
Hmm.
how would you explain it?
Sure. The main aspect of sales, as I said earlier, is that you have to learn to listen and you have to learn to make notes. Everything can't be stored. It's very important to make notes. Then the entire process starts. What's the objective? Why are you doing it? Understand why the whys and hows of a brand of your client, whether it's an individual, whether it's a company, what will you derive out of it? So that's the objective. That objective can be one liner, that objective can be one pager, which you from which you can culminate, what are you doing? Whether it's awareness, whether it's consideration, whether it's acquisition. These are the three stages of a marketing funnel, which helps you drive growth for any brand or any individual for that matter. Now, once you identify the objective, then you segregate various marketing strategies. I'll talk about sales from sales point of view. What's the process like in sales? If it's awareness, I'll make sure that I do a lot of research about a brand before going and pitching it to the client. Who's their competition? What are they doing? What have they done in the past? Whether they are, I come from media background. So for me, where are they active? Whether they're active on newspaper, whether they're active on hoardings, whether they're active on TV, whether they're active on digital, um, whether they are active invisibly, whether they're active on social. Once I identify and make a note of all these things, these questions that where once I've done the research about all this, uh, I actually figure out what kind of questions I need to ask. Now, before going for any meeting, you need to prepare yourself with all these questions. Uh, what will you pitch? What questions will you ask? Basis the research that you've done, and what are you pitching? if the if you're meeting a marketing manager who is into branding and you are pitching them acquisition, then you're talking the wrong language. And if you're meeting the performance manager and you're pitching them branding opportunities, your your sales is all haywire. So that means you're not prepared anything. You're not prepared about the person. You're not prepared about the about your pitch. You're not prepared about the company. So you are researching about the company. You're researching about the person. You're researching about what they have done in the past, what their new launches are, everything from A to Z. And then basis that you create questions, go and ask them these questions in a very storytelling way. You can't upfront ask, सर आपका आपका कितना बजट है, आपका क्या करना है आपको. You just can't ask simply. You have to create a story about it because you've done some research for that brand and the ancillary brands that they have. You get some knowledge about it and you have some talking points, and while talking to them you figure out these answers to your questions. And this presence of mind that happens, a lot of times it has happened with me that when I'm talking to to any brand about um, branded content, the ideas come automatically to me, and I take out those ideas from my mind and I just tell them, even though if it's not possible, they turn out to be a talking point. And that's the learning that one of my team members said that, Tanya, this is something very good that I'm learning from you, because you come up with ideas even though they are not they won't materialize, but there are ideas that you are just throwing up, which actually gives a lot of talking points. And then they also start doing all these, tactics so that, some more information can come out. Make notes of all this, each and every point. There's don't feel shy in writing down in your notebook. It is very human to write down. Come back, create a story, make points, and then work accordingly. Collaborate with your internal teams, whether it's a content related idea, whether it's a plan that you have to create. What are the KPIs that the brand will mention? You have to note down all these things, and this is that create the plan and send the mail, send the conversation the very same day, and then the next day message very politely that I have sent you the plan. The sales cycle doesn't end here. It's the first step that you have taken. uh, I always tell my team and my friends that I work with that you are working for yourself. So create you as a brand. You're not working for a company. You're working for a company, but you are first working for yourself. So create relationships for yourself rather than for the company. So if you have met the client, not necessarily that every time you talk to the client, you have to talk about work. You can talk about, hi, hello, how are we doing? And I just thought, let me just figure out if you've got the time to have a look at it. Relationships will take you a long way. And no matter which company you are, once your relationship is made, and mind you, it will not happen in 1 year or 2 years' time. It will not happen over alcohol or cigarette. It will happen as to what conversations you're having and what patience you're showing with the client, with the person that you're dealing with. Of course, some people are there who do not want to be intrusive. Some people want to talk to you. You can take them out for lunches, dinners. These are all that helps you in creating a relationship. And from there on, your journey starts. There are a lot of iterations that the client want you to make in the plan, whether it is a 2 lakh plan or a 5 lakh plan or 10 lakh plan. You have to work accordingly, and you have to keep your management. So there is a very big hand of the management because you're answerable for your targets to your management because they have the hunter in their hand. And what I've learned, what I've learned there is that just be honest with your communication to your management. That that will actually take you to a long way. Don't create stories that, I'll try whatever. But uh, one of the hurdles, sorry, I'm just deviating from this. One of the hurdles that usually a salesperson faces is getting an appointment with the client. And for that, you're pulled up by your management a lot of times. Um, what happens there is that there are various ways to reach out. And in fact, I have learned one way just recently, about 7 months back. You reach out through LinkedIn, you call them many times, you put a timer on your phone every day that at particular time, two timings that you are calling them, you're dropping them WhatsApp messages, but don't hound, okay? Don't hound the client. But yes, in a very professional way. The last one is write a letter. Write a letter and drop that letter at their reception or speed post and send it to the client addressing, dear so and so, this is what I'm looking, and I've tried various ways to reach out to you and I've not been able to. This really creates an impact. This is an old traditional way,
Right.
but it is still very useful because you've tried all means to reach out.
Right.
And this is something that I have realized that it has worked for me in last 7, 8 months. I have written myself some 10 letters to various brand spots who are not taking my calls.
Wow. Wow. That's quite a revelation.
So, I mean, you have to be passionate about what you're doing, and you have to use all the means available to you to reach out. And then the entire sales cycle starts. and then once you get the account, once you get the business, servicing is very important. How you are dealing with the servicing, how you're dealing internally with the operations team, and how you're answering to the client. A lot of times clients just pull you up that I'm going to pull my money, I'm going to do this and that. Just be calm. Say, okay, sir, if you want to pull it, fine. You will be at a loss because there is a gestation time to in the media space, which creates a pool and then you retarget them. But yes, if you have a relationship in place, which you have been building up, that works at that point of time.
Wow, wow, wow. I personally learned a lot from this answer. I'm going to actually use it going further. But having said that, Tanya, I think one of the things that people would also want to know, and I'm also deeply interested in exploring, is that you use the word brand, right? So we talk about brands, we talk about products. I have had this experience, in product management for a while now, and we talk about brands and all those things. So how would you define branding? Is it another form of marketing? There's a lot of enigma around this word branding, right? And nobody has been able to unravel it in a way which becomes easier for folks to understand. So
Hmm.
would you actually explain it to folks who do not understand marketing because they confuse branding with marketing, right? What is branding? What is a brand? How is it different from a product? Is product also a brand? What I mean, the entire list of questions around branding is something that I want you to answer and kind of tell us
See,
exactly what it is.
the branding is very simple. It's all about the what you want to communicate, how you what you want to communicate, whether it's the brand colors, whether it's provocative, whether it's the font, whether it's the placement of your logo, how your logo is, what are you trying to communicate with that logo, uh, the language of your brand is whether it's provocative, whether it's quotish, whether it's uh, very simple, copies of क्या आप जानते हैं. It is something as simple as that. Do you know this? So branding is all about, what are you communicating and whether that communication is resonating with the user, with your client. Whether if you take a banking client or you take an FMCG brand, you have to resonate with that product of that, whether it's banking or FMCG. I mean, you take any of these brands, you will actually connect with them when you go back. And sometimes, when we were kids and we used to see Doordarshan, and we used to see a lot of jingles, those jingles we used to sing. We knew which jingle is coming, and what's the brand color, what's the logo, um, whether they are catering to kids, adults, youngsters.
Right.
So these things really matter in a brand. What are you communicating? Who are you communicating? Besides the brand colors and logo, you create a proper docket about these questions when you are creating a brand. Um, if I'm today starting my own company, I have to think of a name which resonates first with you, and which you're trying, and what problem you're trying to solve for the user. Then comes to the logo, then comes to the brand colors, then comes to the font, then comes to the kind of language you will be using. Um, and mind you, everything is available on AI these days. Everything. You can create everything. You will get options also from AI. But yes, a human touch is required. So you figure out which ones you like and what human touch you can give to those. While you're doing all this, it's a continuous process to keep evolving your brand guidelines. These are called all brand guidelines. You keep evolving them. Which side should your logo be? Whether you want to change the color, whether you want to change the communication, keep up with the trend. Of course, these brand guidelines don't change overnight, maybe after 2 years, 1 year's time, or 5 years' time. Big brands usually don't change it. But a startup, you are right now flexible and think tactfully and come and figure out about the brand. When you talk about brand promotions is all about creating awareness and to an extent consideration also. What I mean by awareness is that you are visible across 360 degree, whether it is on digital, TV, print, radio, hoardings, and there are a lot many options that you can be visible. Or for that matter, you're available on social media as well. Completely depends what kind of budgets that you want to deploy and where you want to deploy. Because when you have a brand, you have to figure out whether you want to be present only on social media or you want to be present on digital, or mix of all. Uh, I would definitely advise let's start with social media because that's the most easiest and way, and not much of money, spends on it too. I'm talking from the startups point of view, an entrepreneur wherein, you want to talk about it. When we do all these promotions, I'm talking about digital. There are two, three ways to measure the branding KPIs. The branding KPI is usually measured with CTR, which is click-through rates. How many people have seen your ad and they have clicked and landed to your website? When you do it on radio, when you do it on TV, or you do it on print, so there are various ways to figure it out whether they have seen your ad. On print, there are barcodes, and if it is very enticing, you scan the barcode and you land to their page. That's somewhere that you can track that your ad is seen. Hoardings is something you can't measure right now, but if the hoarding has a QR code, you can measure that. So this is how, evolvement has happened, that even when you are on the street, you can figure out whether somebody's seen your ad or no. Uh, and why would somebody scan it? That's all about branding. What are you communicating and how are you communicating? So if you attach some gratification with any of this, then definitely you're getting a scan code. So attach a gratification so that you get to land on to the page. This is all about in a nutshell. This is a very long, lot of things involved, but click-throughs, the CTRs is something that's measurable. Impressions is something that you see that how many people have seen your ad. And there are various ways of targeting age, demo, geo, whether it's and the kind of assets you're deploying, whether it's static ads, display ads, whether you're doing it on CTV, whether you're doing it on through programmatic. Precise targeting is very in these days through for CTV and programmatic. So it's very sharp targeting that you can do, and there are various ways to do it.
When I basically looked at your LinkedIn profile, I see that you worked with a host of companies, right? There were
Yeah,
big companies, there were startups, then there were all kinds of companies like B2B companies, consumer tech. You have worked with all
yeah,
kinds of companies.
yeah.
So if I were to ask you to segregate the sales process, let's say for a B2B company as opposed to a consumer tech company, what are the differences that you spotted in the sales process involved with these two segments?
Um, I'll give you an example. Currently, I'm working with a SaaS company,
Right,
and the SaaS company has its own AI tools through which targeting is possible.
right.
And these targetings happen on CTV, native ads, and programmatic ads. The sales for this is very, very technical. You need to understand the entire process of what is the technology, how is it done, entire background of programmatic, entire background of CTV and native ads, what kind of ad formats are there. It's completely technical. And you will not learn it overnight. You will have to spend 1, 2, 3 months when somebody's explaining it to you 2, 3 times that what is CTV? What is CTV programmatic targeting? What is programmatic display targeting?
Right.
And what is native ads? So this is something that I am currently doing. Sorry, Saurabh, I missed your question. What was your question?
And I said, what are the differences between the
Differences.
sales that you observed in B2B companies versus the sales
Uh,
that you observed in consumer tech companies?
so yeah, consumer tech is all about acquiring the knowledge. Maybe I'm not a perfect tech person, but I have a knack of understanding tech. What you have to do is you have to take some technical person with you and take that person along with you to close the pitch after the first meeting.
Right.
With B2B sales, of course, the kind of products that you have, you understand the basic things that are there. um, Relationship plays a very important role in B2B as well as in SaaS, because there is so much of competition that is there in the market, uh, in every sphere. So your relationship will carry a long way. I have been in the market for 16, 17 years, so I have just 10 good relations in the market, not more than that. But what happens is that when I call them and I tell them that hear me out, they are always there to hear me out.
Right.
Then completely depends what what resonates with them, with their brand, and whether if you're doing a B2B sales, you need to be logical whether your product will be accepted there or no. Otherwise, you're wasting your relationship.
Right.
So don't do that.
Right.
They will not give you an appointment, or they'll call you useless for the next time. So that's you're taking undue advantage of that. Whereas SaaS is right now the programmatic part, which I said. Uh, there's humongous competition for this. I mean, like every second person is selling programmatic. Every second brand is using programmatic, and CTV and native. How do you cut through that? Is you need to have solid differentiators about your product. Solid differentiators. You need to make sure that what is your dashboard like? What does your dashboard gives you as the parameters to analyze your campaigns? Whether you can optimize the campaign midway, uh, because by the end of it, if once you have consumed entire money, there's no point optimizing because you don't have money left midway. Whether the targeting can be changed or not changed. So all this is possible through the entire tool SaaS tools that are provided. These are all AI generated tools only. A lot of times, what happens is that creatives don't work. Uh, there also, your inputs create a lot of difference. And those creatives can be created through AI as well these days. So, what I'm trying to tell is that in the SaaS space, your reporting, your dashboard, your creative strategy, your optimization makes a lot of difference. Whether now in the B2B space, it takes a lot of time to materialize because it's a journey that any B2B company has. And it's more of an integration part within their ecosystem. And reporting and all that also happens gradually. But these things are also essential in the B2B space. Is what is the criteria of success measurement? What are the KPIs that you've been given? And then you try and analyze them.
Right. So you spoke about a bunch of metrics pertaining to sales, right? I think
Yeah,
those metrics are also used for marketing some way or the other, right?
yeah.
So could you list those metrics out, which are extremely important for sales folks to know, whether it is B2B or it is B2C? Do you also differentiate?
So in the digital ecosystem,
Yeah.
when you're doing a campaign analysis, there is CTR, there is cost per acquisition, CPA, this cost per lead. These are few basic ones.
Right.
When you do all this, you need to have a dashboard access in order to optimize the campaign. Then there are Google and Meta ads also, which also help you in sharp targeting. Then there is programmatic ads, which help you to do sharper and precise targeting and gives you the entire dashboard report also through programmatic, which is very good in a way because the entire AI actually identifies your pool and targets your ad. You just have to give the prompts in that tool, and then it runs automatically. At the same time, you can always view your dashboard whether it's performing or not performing. These three, four things are, enough for you to take the campaign live and analyze and get leads, whether those leads are authentic, verified or not verified. For that, you need to have manual intervention.
Right. I think we also in product we speak a lot about unit economics, right? We speak a lot about the cost of acquiring a customer and the
Yeah.
lifetime value of the customer brings to you, right? So are these metrics relevant to salespeople?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So as I said, we do when we are doing branding campaigns, we work on CPM, which is
Cost
the
per
way we
impression.
sell, and that's how CTRs come out. In a similar way, brands give us targets for cost of leads, cost of acquisition, and it's a very critical format, because it's very sharp targeting. And what happens is that, um, when you're doing this performance, this is called performance targeting,
Right.
performance campaign. What When you do that, you have the same pool. That same pool you're targeting again and again. The challenge is that you create a new pool. How do you create a new pool of audience? That's the challenge, and for that you need to keep evolving. A lot of places there are third party data available. You use that third party data available. A lot of companies, allow you to do first party data targeting. A lot of companies, you use that so that you create a pool of yours and retarget them. So there is definitely, cost of acquisition, cost per lead, cost per click. So CPC it's called. So these things are measured there. When you talk about, I'm not too sure if you're referring to cost per human sales, but right now, a lot of companies are also developing self-serve,
Okay.
which is going to cut a lot of sales jobs as well.
Right.
And brands are exploring to a self-serve model.
So when you say self-serve, what exactly do you mean?
So what happens is that, for example, um, uh, you're watching an OTT platform, and right now you've done your auto pay, so it is happening. But from the brand side of view, if the brand says that I want to run an video ad onto your platform, and I don't have an agency. So what that OTT platform must have done or should do is create a self-serve platform that you upload your ad, you upload the money, you upload your targeting metrics and target that ad and give me a campaign report. You are doing everything yourself. You're not dependent on anybody. This
Okay.
is self-serve. So you know how much money you're spending, where your money is spending. You can start with the minimum cap, whatever that OTT gives you. This format is not only used in OTT, but this format is used in various companies nowadays. Whether you're, I mean, like if you want to buy an insurance policy, you're actually buying it yourself. You don't need a manager to explain it to you.
Right.
So it's self-serve only.
So essentially, what you're saying is that the brand directly approaches the OTT
Yeah.
without the intervention of any middle agency or something like that,
Yeah.
and places an ad based on its budget or something like that, right? So there is no
Yeah.
agency involved per se,
Yeah.
and the brand is directly interacting with the OTT platform through a self-serve self-serve
Correct.
feature that they provide, right?
And it's a brand safe environment when any platform is creating something. Of course, they check at their end. Any company checks at their end what kind of ad it is. It should not be obscene. It should not be political. It should not be anything religious, and it's run.
Okay. But won't that sort of increase the hassle for a brand? Because earlier all this thing, you were being insulated by the agency which would take care of
So
all
this
these
will
things.
be very much applicable to startup ecosystem, not for a big brand.
Right.
Like, for example, if I'm starting my own company and I don't have money for any agency to hire,
Hmm.
I might as well use a self-serve model.
Okay. Okay. So that is a use case based.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. Makes sense. Now, you spoke a lot about the sales process. You explained how sales works in B2B environments. You explained how sales works in consumer tech environments and all these different kind of environments. Now, post the AI explosion that kind of happened in November, in the last 3 years, you know, what is the what is that gargantuan change you have observed in the sales process? And keep stock of the time when you were a simple salesperson when you started your career without any AI, without any digital first kind of
yeah.
environment. From then till now, what do you think has changed in the last 3 years as far as sales is concerned?
See, AI is definitely helpful uh, because I was dependent on, um, so it has taken jobs also. But, for example, if I have to create some ideas for a brand, and I don't have a copywriter with me, or I don't have a brand solution guy with me, working with me because I don't have the money. Or for that matter, even if I have the money, I want quick response. I'm like, in a snap, I want ideas. So, so I'm getting a lot of ideas from AI, and I'm able to humanize them and put my inputs, strike off certain things, and create it in no time. So I'm not dependent on anybody. At the same time, of course, AI has taken a job of a brand solution guy. Completely depends. Uh, Completely depends whether you're convinced with the AI ideas. Um, because if you I have been using AI of late to create ideas, and for every brief, I have got same set of ideas from AI, almost the same. They have just copy pasted certain ideas and I've got it. So how and where, what kind of prompts I'm using is also a matter. But how do I, uh, as a brand solution guy, if I am, how do I use those and make them more better, make them better because I am more creative than ChatGPT or any of the AI system. How do I make it more interesting? That's where I will add some element of on ground activation. I'll add some scan code. I'll add some innovation. I'll add some 3D. So these are few things that as a human I'll add to it. But of course, if you give these prompts to AI, maybe they can come up with the whole strategy for you. So that is something that has evolved, and that is helpful for an instant ideas. Back then, it was a proper process, and I'm very uh, proud of that process.
Right.
That when you go to a brand, you make notes, you come back, you create a proper brief, you give it to your sales solutions team. There's a huddle that happens
Uh-huh.
to create ideas.
Right.
It's not just one person's mind. It's
Right.
a huddle of like 5 to 6 people who are sitting on all your briefs. If I have got 5 briefs in a day, or on all those 5 briefs, the 5 people are discussing together what are the ideas that we can pitch. And believe me, all ideas for all these briefs were different.
Right. Right.
All of them.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Talking from content point of view.
Yeah.
Uh, and these are the human mind, human brains that they are coming up with various ideas. And these ideas are for videos, these ideas are for articles. What are the catchy lines to give to resonate with the brand? uh, and then it's executed very process. So there's a huge difference. uh, right now, uh, whatever ideas that I have from AI and I execute those ideas, those are very short-lived in my mind. But if you go back and see those ideas, if you have seen a couple of those videos, they'll stay in your mind for at least 2, 3, 4 years. And once you are doing something, you can resonate कि मैंने ये कुछ कभी देखा था. But
Right.
you will not remember the recent thing.
Right. Now, making it a little more interesting, assume you are the director of sales in a startup that raised Series A, right? Now, in an AI driven environment, right, if you're basically taking insight from AI and those insights, do they help you iterate faster in terms of delivering features based on actual customer feedback?
So,
Because
my
today,
my
why I ask you this question is because today we have a very connected environment. It's not that
yeah.
sales is operating in a silo and marketing is operating in a silo. We're all kind of connected in a single environment. And let's say you are one of the sales director, you are the sales director heading the sales function, right? So the actual sales feedback, what are the insights that AI can derive from that, and how will that insights help the product team to deliver a feature?
So, Saurabh, that earlier when we didn't have AI,
Right,
हमारी A/B testing कैसे होती थी?
right,
हम we used to get a product
yeah,
to go out and sell it in the market for a month, get a feeler, get a sense of what's the acceptance like,
right,
um, and come back and give feedback. The product team will make some changes, maybe minute changes. Maybe you will not see that there are any changes made, but they must have made some changes because that's the feedback. And then you go out back again and do this testing. This is usually done, 2, 3, 4 times, and you keep evolving. The product team also keep evolving your product. Currently, what it that's not done. Currently, we just ask AI, this is what I've created, this is what it is. Tell me what all um, questions or what all feedback I can get so that I can, before sending out in the market, I make those changes in the product. It's like anticipation about it. Similarly, when you are going out in the market and you have 10 different meetings in like 4 days' time, you do not have time to customize for each and every 10 client your pitch. But the AI helps you to customize in a very big way.
right,
It just solves a lot of your time, a lot of your stress. It's just that you have to use the right prompts, and you need to know how you have to do it. There are various apps that will give you content. There are various apps that will make your presentation for you. And believe me, right now, brands have accepted that it is created by your AI because they're also looking for something new. Of course, you make those changes before going to the client. And what differentiates is how you're pitching it. Even though you're using AI for your pitch, but what you're pitching and how you're pitching is something that you have to be confident about. So that ways it's very helpful because I can't make so many presentations alone, and I'm not very good at presentations. So I take help from AI. At the same time, whatever changes I have to make in my product, I usually ask that this is what I'm going to do in the campaign, or this is what my product is all about. Do you think is there any feedback? So I will get those feedbacks and I'll try and anticipate that these kind of questions may come up. So it is definitely easy for me right now to go and without any stress go out in the market and in a snap I get my presentation.
Right. Now, taking cue from that, I think now that AI has become a part of mainstream process in terms of product and sales and marketing, it's seamlessly integrated into these functions. What do you think are the interdisciplinary skills that will become extremely valuable to folks operating in the sales function or folks who aspire to be in the sales function? What are those skills that will become extremely important going further?
Um, Skills that are required for, I mean, like you need to know your products. Um,
Like someone said in a podcast 2 weeks back that empathy is going to be a skill which will be really really valuable going further because machines don't have empathy. So we would be expected to be more empathetic because AI cannot be empathetic no matter how smart the AI is. It can never derive or it can never exhibit human empathy. So likewise, are there skills that people need to master, especially considering that AI is going to take over a lot of functions going further?
yeah, so right now AI is trying to provide you with all the necessary details as a brand manager or as a salesperson. They are trying to give you all the necessary details. But you also need to know what prompts are there and how you're going to use those prompts. What are the apps and what are the AI tools that are available in the market? Maybe they are social listening skill tools. Maybe there are presentation making tools. Maybe they are creating ideas. There are a lot of these, apps, sorry, tools that are available in the market. You need to have an understanding of those. At the same time, your ancillary knowledge, for example, you definitely need to have some basic skill sets of Google Analytics, Meta Analytics, Flipkart, Amazon, how what they are doing and how they are doing. Have do some small basic courses in the digital ecosystem. Do some courses of these. Do some research about which are the social listening tools, so that when you have a dashboard, you know what you're trying to evaluate and how you're trying to evaluate. Um, of course, as you said, empathy is definitely you can't, I mean, you can't get it from a machine, but that's secondary, which is what I feel. When you are learning those tools and when you're using the AI, and when you don't have the time, then you figure out what is the best way at that moment only. And it's very impulsive, all these things. But when you have time, for example, if you have to do a very deep integration for any particular brand within your ecosystem, and you are creating a presentation for that, uh, you will do only an outlining the from the AI. Other things you will be putting it yourself because you know your product extremely well. What is the customer journey? You will be creating that customer journey for the brand. Of course, the beautification can be done by AI. So yeah, that you can take help with. So these are definitely few things that you need to learn in the AI ecosystem.
What are the different roles you see coming up as we're moving further, uh, especially in the sales silo? What are the kind of roles that you see popping out? Like, for instance, I recently came across a role called forward deployment engineer, right? Wherein the person is supposed to be a software development engineer, a pre-sales guy, an architect, and also a product manager, right? So now you're probably seeing an amalgamation of these four kind of roles into one role, uh, purely in the context of optimizing costs for the company, right? So as AI becomes a dominant force, becomes a mainstream thing as far as the corporate utopia is concerned, do you see any crazy roles coming up in the sales domain which we have not heard of or which are yet to show up and all that? Or what are the roles that will kind of die in the next 2 to 3 years?
Um, I feel right now, chief of staff is the person who has replaced a lot of salespeople's jobs. But sales team will definitely have a lean team. It will not be expanding until unless you're doing a very widespread distribution of your network. But the jobs in the sales will definitely remain because AI can't do that sales pitch for you. Of course, they can create a storytelling for you, but you have to be there. So I feel the sales managers, sales folks, they will be definitely aligning with product managers. There can be definitely people who can evaluation managers basically to whether your PPT, your presentation, whether your offerings are fair enough. GTM managers are also there right now in the market, which can be evaluated through AI, but then it's very important to have that human knowledge about it. GTM, risk management, sales managers, director sales, whatever. These few things are definitely there, and then you evaluate. This evaluation manager is very important, is what I feel.
Right. Now, a funny question to you. Question is that as we are moving more and more towards the agentic AI economy, right? We're looking at at a scenario where an AI agent will put up an ad, and a personal AI agent will look at the ad to see whether it makes sense or not for its user, right? The user,
Hmm.
maybe I'm the user and you're the advertiser. Your agent is showing me an ad, and my agent has to decide whether this ad makes sense for me or not, and basically take a call if I want to buy that product or not. Okay?
Hmm.
In such a funny, or let's say a hypothetical dystopian scenario, what is the need for a sales guy to be actually there when agents are replicating everything and anything?
The person who's viewing is also AI.
Yeah, so then agent is showing an ad and an agent is viewing an ad.
Okay, it's a tough one. Um, so it completely depends what AI's copy you are reading. It also depends
But I'm
what
not
is the
reading anything.
offering.
I'm not
Huh?
reading anything. It's my agent that is reading.
Huh. So I'm saying is that what that agent is, so you have to program it in such a way that if I am gratified, then only I'll give a prompt of okay or not okay. But if
Right.
I'm not gratified, I'll keep saying okay, nice, happening, not happening.
Okay.
So gratification is something, it's just a
Yeah.
way to engage.
Right.
Uh, but what really matters is how the communication goes. You can also prompt various questions which they both can talk, which is actually fed. For example, hypothetically, in the healthcare industry, there are a lot of these chat bots that are created with any name, and then you put some questions about it, and then you get answers back from the chat GPT, from the chatbot. It's something that it's I'm manually asking it, but you can also put questions from AI as well. So those are interesting ones, and you can always feed those answers from both the sides.
Right. Now, if you look back at your probably a 2 decade long career, right?
Hmm.
What do you see as one of the most colossal mistakes you made? And looking back, how did you overcome that? How did you basically recover from that? How did you fix that particular glitch that you had made? What is that one instance that you would like to narrate if you can?
So I feel I gained confidence in my career very late, is what I feel. Because during those times, we did not have any kind of guidance, and we just went wherever we got the job, wherever, whatever we are doing, whether we are doing right or not wrong, whether, we should stay here, whether we should pivot our career to something else. there was nobody to guide us at that point of time. And that eventually, gave me confidence quite later in life. Um, had I not, had I continued with hotel industry, maybe I would have been somewhere else. Had I taken up, had I continued with the IT industry when I was with Satyam, I would have been somewhere else. Um, but those questions do not disturb me. All that is there is right now that this confidence is now my strength. No matter it has come after like 8, 9, 10 years of my career. After that, I have gained that confidence. So it's just that, how you maneuver your career and what are your and whether you're sticking to your ethics. These are few things which are very important for me. A polished language, your ethics, your honesty, your hard work really matters. And there are smart people, as they say, and there are hardworking people. Um, but both of them have their own strengths. A smart person may not be as hardworking, but there will be some or the other lag. That person, smart person, will be definitely lazy in his life. But whereas a hardworking person may not have a great brain, but the brain will be there. So all I'm saying is that, there are various combinations of mistakes that you do, but then you eventually, if you're learning from it and you're sticking to your ethics, I think it's fine.
Well, I definitely learned how to duck a question from this, and and I think probably only a salesperson can teach that quality. But I think one last question before we go, and the question over here is that if you were to advise folks who are there in the sales industry right now, who are there in as salesmen working in different sectors, B2B, B2C, right, in larger companies, in smaller companies, folks who are just on the verge of graduating, or folks
Yeah,
who are sitting waiting for their turn to come so that they can work as a sales guy, right?
yeah.
What would be your advice or a list of advices, if I may use that word, for them if they were to survive in this extremely economically uncertain climate with tariffs on one hand, AI automation on the other hand, and all the god forsaken things that one does not want to think of is happening right now. So in
Hmm.
this kind of environment, what would you advise those?
Um, I usually would like to, I mean, I advise my son, he's just started going to graduation, that you use AI tools very I mean, like to the T, you use it very well. But at the same time, when you're pitching it, put your brain as well into it. Do some research about it, because ultimately you are going to create a relationship, and you're going to have, and whatever you're creating, create it with long-term vision, uh, because that is very important. Short term will not reap you any results. So whether you're creating something, whether you are going out and pitching it in the market, so have that. Plus, you know, work hard towards it, understand some basic rules, as I said earlier. Keep that in mind, listen, research, make notes. These things will always be handy for you. And make use of your relationships, make use of the knowledge that you have through AI, and then, go out in the market, because ultimately you will be evaluated on your knowledge, not from AI's knowledge. Uh, I think this is fair enough for any starter to go out in the market, and then it's completely up to you how you choose your mentor. That mentor is also very important in your life. Um, Bosses are somebody, who can guide you well. You have to choose the boss, but maybe after couple of years only you can choose your boss, not in the initial stage, because you're still trying to understand what's happening.
So, what about folks, Tanya, who are just about to graduate and are interested in becoming a BD executive or a sales guy? What would you explicitly advise them as to what they should do? if they were to get a job or if they were to do good at a job, what would be your advice to them?
Uh, any starter who is going out in the market, I would definitely say, and who I would definitely say that when you take up a job, stick to that job for at least 1 to 2 years, because that will actually help you in understanding what is happening in that space that you have chosen. And at the same time, keep upgrading yourself for next 2 years, whether in that field or whether if you want to pivot in the other fields as well. Stick to that job if you have got the job. In case if you haven't taken up a job and you plan to study, uh, do that. But at the same time, take up some side job as well, because until unless you have an experience on the ground, you will not learn anything. It will just be bookish. Stick there. And when you are sticking there, choose the right people you're working with. Of course, it's very difficult to identify, but maybe after 2 years down the line, you will have some sense that what kind of people, what kind of person you are, and what kind of people you want to work with, and the stream that you want to work with.
Right. All right. So I think pretty interesting conversation. I think we peeled the different layers of sales to basically make it extremely easy to understand for folks who have never done sales or who wish to do sales and all that. But I personally learned a lot from Tanya. I've been learning from her a lot over these years. We've been in the business for like more than 20 years now, and we've known each other almost all our lives. So I think she's somebody who was an early starter in terms of getting into a career. Even before anyone of us knew there is something called a career, and then she got into that part. She understood things very fast, and she understood how business works and everything. It took us a while to even understand what business is all about. But I think Tanya, thank you so much for turning up for this. And I think it's we are blessed to have you, and extremely honored to have you. And thank you so much for taking our time for us. And we would love to have you again. Now that you spoke about AI so much, the next discussion is going to be on AI sales, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, absolute pleasure to have you and listen to you, and look forward to you doing amazing sales going further.
Thanks, Saurabh. I also really enjoyed speaking up. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a couple of more podcasts like this.
Absolute. Thanks.